For centuries, the medieval knight has been portrayed as the ultimate warrior, chivalrous, noble, and invincible in battle. But behind the legends lies a far more brutal truth. Knighthood was not a life of glory. It was a life of hardship, danger, and extraordinary cost. To become a medieval knight required decades of training, physical endurance, and immense personal wealth. And once the armor was strapped on, survival was anything but guaranteed. So, this is why you may not want to have been a medieval knight. This is raw history. The journey to knighthood began early. At the age of 7 or 8, a noble boy was sent away from home to live in the household of a lord. Here he would serve as a page, learning the rudiments of combat, horsemanship, and courtly manners. But before he could wield a sword in battle, he was expected to serve. Pages were little more than glorified servants. They were expected to wait upon the knights of the household, learning by observation and carrying out menial tasks. Only after several years of service could they progress to the next stage. At around 14 years old, a page would become a squire. This was when the real training for knighthood began. Squires learned to fight with swords, maces, and lances, and trained relentlessly in the art of mounted combat. They tended to their master's horses, cared for his weapons, and even accompanied him into battle. But the path to knighthood was not guaranteed. It was brutal, and it was often deadly. To be a knight was to be a warrior, and medieval warfare was not the clean, strategic affair seen in modern depictions. It was often brutal, chaotic, and fought at terrifyingly close quarters. Knights fought with weapons that could crush bones and cleave through armor, and despite their formidable protection, the weight of this armor was constantly a burden. A full suit could weigh up to 55 pounds, that's 30 kilograms, often to exhaust even the most seasoned warriors after hours of fighting. The reality of combat was also far from noble. If a knight fell in battle, he often found himself helpless at the mercy of foot soldiers eager to claim him for ransom, or worse, his life. We often hear of the chivalric code, an ideal of honor, loyalty, and service. But in truth, chivalry was rarely practiced outside of poetry and song. Knights were as much warlords as they were warriors. Many sought fortune through conquest, plunder, and brute force. Medieval knights were not bound by modern morality. They waged war not only against rival nobles, but against common villages, imposing heavy taxes and often seizing lands for themselves. The sword that was meant to defend the weak was often turned against them. Beyond the battlefield, there was another challenge that every knight faced: money. The cost of being a knight was staggering. A single suit of armor could cost the equivalent of a year's wages for a nobleman. A warhorse, essential for combat, cost even more. Knighthood was an expensive profession. Maintaining a household, funding a retinue of men-at-arms, and fulfilling financial obligations of land ownership placed enormous strain on many knights. Without land or a generous patron, a knight could quickly find himself ruined. So, was the life of a knight truly one of honor and privilege? The truth is far more complex, but for every tournament champion, there was a dozen more who lived and died in obscurity. The road to knighthood was one of hardship, sacrifice, and relentless struggle. And for those who survived the battlefield, there was no promise of wealth or comfort, only the certainty that one day they too would fall. If you've enjoyed this short video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And let me know in the comments, would you have liked to have been a medieval knight, or maybe another profession? See you in the next one.